Los Angeles and Brisbane. Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss the current affairs, specifically the feature news for today, that is 21st of February 2022. Today's feature news is on a very interesting topic, which is inventions and patenting in India. The complete regime of patenting, along with understanding what are the challenges, what does the Patent Act speak of, what are the kind of benefits that the Act offers to Indian creative people in our country, and what are the challenges associated. We will understand each of them and cover an all-round perspective around patenting and intellectual property savings in the country. All right. To begin with, allow me to welcome each of you here, all the people present here. Amlan, Kriti, Hima, Netra, Ashish, Vakram, Tiyasha, Kanupriya, Lost Soul, all of you, welcome back. So can brain drain be a reason for low patents in India? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. Allow me to discuss this further, how brain drain can also be a cause here. So first of all, Amlan asks me a question. If we host International Olympic Committee session, does it mean that we are also going to host the Olympics? These are few ways in which India can showcase that yes, we also have some strength, but just a few medals and such a huge population, the kind of infrastructure that we have, this may be decent class, but this is not absolutely world class, right? And this is the reason that the upcoming Olympics 2020, next Olympics, what year? 2024, to be held in Paris. After that, Los Angeles. After that, Australia. I think it is Melbourne or Brisbane. They're going to hold it. So Olympics for the coming 12 years up to 1932 has already been decided. Imagine that. This is how the preparation is done. And India has never hosted an Olympic. It will be a huge feat for India to host an international event like that. Thousands of players coming to a particular country and hosting it. Commonwealth Games was, yes, a bigger event. And then we did have Asian Games back in the 80s, bigger event for India. But then Olympics is a little long way, right? But India is definitely attempting all that. Meanwhile, are there some questions? No. Qualitative research paper also less in India, yes. All right. Hi Vivek, let's begin this conversation. What are the kind of properties we own? We own computers, machinery, vehicle, all of these are properties, tangible properties, right? Tangible assets that we own. This can be seen, this can be counted. But each of us own a specific asset that is in our critical abilities, that is in our minds, that is the ability to think, to create something creative yet intangible. Those intangible assets are called as intellectual property, IP, intellectual property. And it has been mentioned in the Charter for Human Rights that intellectual property, just like the other property also, must be preserved. So people must have intellectual property rights. Yes, not only the human rights, but all the countries have also jointly formed associations, and they have discussed what is the meaning of intellectual property right, what are the kinds of intellectual property right they can be, and then how to protect them, right? And if one country is a signatory to it, then they will have to follow and abide by the norms. So if you look at the kind of intellectual property, they can be of many kinds. One simple example is Sanjeev Kapoor cooking some kind of food. So he has some trade secret or some ways in which he can make food others cannot. He has done it by himself, his brain power, and he would not like to discuss this with people. So either this is a trade secret or this is a creative intellectual property patent of a particular process or a particular product, right? Let us understand each of them. So what is the meaning of patenting of a product? One example of this is creating, for example, making tea. If making tea involves 3 or 4 processes, for example, I have to put in water, I have to put in later some milk, and then some tea leaves and some sugar. These are the ingredients. I have to boil it for 2-3 minutes and then tea is created. The tea itself could be patented, and that is the product. The product tea has been created and tea product can be patented. Keep listening. Then we'll discuss the issues with it. The other one is process patent. So this is the product patent. Tea has been patented. Product. On the other hand, we can also patent the whole process. For example, if this is a special kind of tea that I have prepared, this is by putting in the milk first and then the tea leaves, and after that the sugar, and at the end the water. This is the process, and this could be tastier or maybe something different about it, something therapeutic about it. So this is the product patent, right? Now the present regime in the world says there is nothing called as process patent. You always have to apply for a product patent only. This is from World Trade Organization, right? They say that you have to go through product patent only around the whole world. But it's important to understand both the kind of patent processes, because both of them existed in the country until India was part of the World Trade Organization signatory in 1995, right? So under TRIPS, Trade Related Intellectual Property Rights Agreement, we had to conform to the measures of product patent, right? We could not have process patent, and I will explain to you how process patent was really beneficial for us through the Indian Patent Act, right? 1970. So right now, understanding what is a patent, this is a product and process patent that I explained to you right now. Similarly, if there are other artistic creations, for example, you people have written, Amlan has written a book. He keeps on, speaking various quotes. All those quotes are his intellectual property, right? If he has created them by himself. So they can be put in a book, and that is his intellectual property, right? He can have a copyright for the book. If Bhavani is a great singer, they will be able to sing songs and they will be able to protect their complete intellectual property. This is called as the protection of their intellect, right? So these are the ways. So this is copyright. Different words used for different terminologies, different kind of creations. If it is an artistic creation, you own a copyright. If it is a product that you have created, product patent, this is a patent. Similarly, there are trademarks. For example, if your organization exists and this organization is, for example, McDonald's, right? They can't write their name everywhere, no? They will have a symbol. So this is the trademark. Nobody will be able to copy this trademark, right? So this is how there are various ways in which people protect their own intellectual property. Similarly, there's an example of trade secrets, right? They would not like to share their trade secrets or ingredients of a medicine or how the food was created, simply because this was their innovation, their creative critical abilities, right? One example of this is Mr. Ambani Senior, Dhirubhai Ambani. When he was extremely ill, he still survived. There was a necessity for him to survive for a little longer, so that all the trade secrets that he had, they must be, passed on to the generations. So therefore, there were doctors who were keeping him alive so that he could pass on the valuable information about the organization, right? These are just media reports, but these are just examples to let you know that this is how trade secrets are preserved and kept amongst people. This is the way intellectual property is saved, right? So giving you a quick background of intellectual property, but explaining to you what is happening in the present world, right? So we have, instead of Puma, there are people wearing Coma. And instead of Lays, we have legs. We have Adidas in the market. And for Fair and Lovely, we have Fair and Lovely. Yeah. McDonald's on chappal. Not only that, we have Nike and then we have Hikey. We have a Catcot also. See, these are mere examples of how intellectual property is getting stolen, right? These are mere examples, but there are innumerable ways in which intellectual property that we own, that gets stolen, right? So infringement of intellectual property through multiple ways is happening around the world. See, a quick background to it. In India, the first act to be able to, let me see what you people are talking here. Secret masalas. Yes, secret masalas, yes. Maggie itself. Who has been able to emulate Maggie? Nobody. Intellectual property, trade secret. All right, great examples. Single but average types. Yeah, Coca-Cola recipe itself, right? Each of them. All right. So point being, but you can't mention these kind of examples. This is mere for your understanding purposes, right? So point I'm making is that there are various ways in which intellectual properties exist, right? For example, trade secrets, for example, your patent rights, copyrights, right? There are various ways, other ways also it can be saved, right? So the point being that they must be saved, but that is not what is happening in our country. What is happening in our country, we must discuss the complete background and history to understand the present levels, right? So the first law that was passed in India, that was in 1911, that was by the Britishers, and the main idea was to ensure that India's resources must be extracted. If they have a patent law created in India, they will create a patent for everything and they will be able to extract higher prices for that article. They will also ensure that nobody else creates that product. So Britishers, for their own gain, started this Patent Act. Later, India felt that there was a need for a Patent Act. In 1970, we passed the Patent Act 1970, where product and process patent both were granted. Now, this was a great step for India. I'll tell you why. Because see, when Western world had a patent regime, for example, they wanted to preserve their products, whatever they created. They had a better scientific and technology and critical awareness regime. That's absolutely agreeable. They also commercialized it. They also understood the production of it must happen. Yes, they did it, but they were also selling it to the developing countries. Developing countries, on the other hand, they said that we will also develop process patents. So what we did was that we said, all right, you people are putting in the milk first, no? And then after that tea, milk first, and after that tea, what we will do is that we will screwdriver technology it, we will reverse engineer, we will understand the product eventually is tea itself. So we will be putting the tea leaves first and after that the milk. Process has changed, but yet the product remains almost same. So India, with this kind of process patent regime, could garner a lot of wealth and international fame in two sectors: pharma sector and fast moving consumer goods, FMCG sector, right? So these two sectors were utilized, especially the pharma sectors, and India could break any patent through this because its process was different. India could have this. But 1995, when India joined the WTO, they said that nothing doing. Developing countries, we will give you 10 years maximum to be able to understand what is process patent, product patent, and you will have to abide by it. Developed countries got only 1 year to abide by this, but all the countries largely had to abide by product patent. Matlab ki, simple meaning ki, if somebody has created COVID vaccination, nobody else can create COVID vaccination if that country has initiated that process. This is a simple example of product patent, right? This is not on vaccination, but general. Nobody can create that particular product in case that person has created, and these patents are valid. See, the various trademarks, trademarks are valid all the time, but patents are valid for 20 years. And this is country by country. If a country has a patent valid in USA, it will have to apply for patent in India also. Or if they are a part of a larger organization, for example, WIPO, or example, WTO, right? There are norms set in WTO, TRIPS agreement, etc. that there will be a filing of patent in India also alongside. So nobody else will be able to file a patent on their behalf. Instead, no stealing of these rights will happen. So 20 years is what they are valid for, and till this time, nobody else will be able to create these products. This is what was agreed upon by all the countries. India had to abide by it. But then this was called as 20-year patent. Fine, India agreed to it. All the countries agreed. But at the time when its time was expiring, so 1995, this organization came into being, and then we signed it, and 10 years was given to developing countries. At the end of 10 years, India introduced some smaller fragments of changes in its laws. So one of the changes introduced was, the issues that I'm speaking of are beneficial for India, but a bone of contention between India and developing countries. So one of them was Section 3D in the Patent Act, important section in the in the Patent Act. The second was the provision for compulsory licensing, right? So what are these? And I'm very happy some of you have actually mentioned these points, amazing points. So let us understand each of the issues so that it brings clarity to what these portions are. So when you look at Section 3D of the Patenting Act is against evergreening of the patent. Now what these companies would do is that the advanced countries and their companies, they would say that 20 years the patent is valid. Now at the end of 20 years they would say that the efficacy of this drug has decreased. Efficacy has decreased and we want to do further research on this. So what they do is that they add a little bit of salt and a little bit of sugar to it, and then they say we have changed the product and now this is more efficacious, so grant us the patent again. So 20 years more of patent will be granted to them. This way they will be able to maintain the monopoly in that particular product for lifetimes to come. And this is where India said we will not handle this, because we have a mass of population, we have to cater to them. There are normal Indian companies also, we are falling behind already. 20 years is enough. And if you are evergreening, this is called as evergreening of patent. If you are evergreening your patent by making small iterations, small changes and saying it is a different product catering far better, we are not going to agree to you, because you will have to pass the test of the particular efficacy of that product, right? So efficacy was the word used was enhanced efficiency. The law said that there must be enhanced efficiency in the particular product if new research is done, if it was already granted patent, right? And they didn't define what enhanced efficiency is. So therefore, one company, Novartis, as you people have mentioned in the comments, Novartis companies a particular drug, Gleevec. That particular drug is used for curing cancer. They went to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court then tried to define what is enhanced efficiency. They said enhanced efficiency means therapeutic effect. If it is clearing the disease, that is fine. And if it is a different product, it didn't pass the test, because the next product that they created, it was very similar to the old product. So this was the popular Novartis Supreme Court judgment, on the basis of which we understand the enhanced efficiency in case of evergreening of products, right? So India said we will not allow evergreening. This is a part of the Indian Patent Act section 3D. Please do remember this. This is a bone of contention between India and the developed world, because they say we have created a new product. India says no, we know what you have done here. We know what you did last summer. So this is one. The second one is related to the compulsory licensing. India in 2005, right, those times said that there is such a huge population we have to cater to, and suddenly if a disease like SARS happens in our country, or COVID happens in our country, or those diseases which are deadly, plague happens in a country like ours, how will we be able to tackle this when you are selling drugs for such expensive rates, import cost, and then the various duties, the tariff for importing, right? The logistics cost, everything will be expensive, and over that you will be charging, research and development fee and everything included, a huge amount for the medication. We won't be able to pay this. We want to create our own medication here in case of the important urgent need. So India then placed the specific component part in its laws. India said that there will be a provision for compulsory licensing through the drug control order. Logi, what is this? So India said very clearly that in case there is need in our country, exigencies, important things, in case there is anti-competitive practices, in case there are certain emergencies in our country, we will have a drug control order released for the essential medication. Prices of essential drugs will be fixed by us. We will also ensure that we give compulsory licensing to anybody by the government order, and we will ask them to create that product, import that product, do anything, but and this will be without even informing or taking consent of the original owner of that product, right? So compulsory licensing, again a point of contention between India and developed world. Developed world already accuses India of coma. Developed world already accuses India of all these kind of products, developed world, that they offer, and then a fake product, counterfeit product is produced in India. There are innumerable litigations on that front, whether it be intellectual property or various kind of intellectual property, and over and above you are placing these kind of restrictions. See, just like we have an environment and economy debate, we have a debate over this also: social justice versus research and development. Only when research and development can happen will we be able to cater to social demands and needs. That's absolutely true. For that, we will need greater spending in research and development. This is what developed countries do, and they are able to invest in their society, but then they also charge the governments for this. right? The corporates, they charge the government for this. They export it to other countries, they charge them for this, because this is how they are able to regard research and development. They pay hefty to the scientists, to the doctors, engineers abroad. This is not something that happens in India. Not only that, they also should take some profit for their own growth. India says we will treat social justice at a far greater heights because of the poor population in the country. So you can see analysis is here. You can see research and development fund is also low for us, and we want to do social justice also. Is it not a vicious cycle for us? Yeah, snowball effect in itself, recursive processes. And on the other hand, they research and develop their products very well, and they also sell at higher cost. So their society, I was looking through a video, the American middle class society is fallen into depravity. They have become poorer than earlier. The cost of education in America, the inflation level in America in the last 50 years, the cost of owning a home in America or renting out a home has increased 200, 300 times, and education 200-300 times, but the salaries have hardly increased for middle class. So another recursive, regressive process in America also and developed countries. But then, inter-country debate, yes, this is the debate. One, that is evergreening. India has questioned this, and you know the case, Novartis case. And other one is the regimen for compulsory licensing, drug control order. These are two important issues that you must remember, right? So in America has said that, all right, we will keep noting what you are doing here with us. And this is why it has, if you remember, we had studied the 301 report by USTR, United States Trade Representative. In this report, they had said that India is one of the worst, one of the most dramatic countries where intellectual property is not preserved. It is not preserved. So they are not happy. And this is the reason that many people do not apply for patents in India, because they know that there's a possibility of breakage of these patents, right? But thankfully, India has not broken many of these patents through drug control order, not broken many of it. So many of the drugs, their 20-year regime of the product patent is almost coming to an end, coming to a closure. And India has already given 100% FDI in pharma sector. Oh, this is a good lucrative advantage. So instead of creating those medications there and coming here in India and asking for product patent and then getting it broken off here because of the compulsory licensing in case of need, can those companies create their products in India itself? What a smart way, strategic for India. See that? So this is what is happening in this era, in the last 2, 3, 4 years and the coming 3, 4, 5 years, right? So this is a great regime, and America also is not very happy. So that is the reason that India, America recently, they went and met for protection of trade, intellectual property also. India will learn the best practices from countries like USA and countries in Europe. This is the agenda, right? Another issue is that of data exclusivity, right? See, while we apply for patents from any of the countries, what we have to do is we have to give them everything about our patent. What is special about our patent? It has to be seen according to our own records, whether it matches with the patent in that country or not. So we are giving all our information, and there is no level of protection for that information. So data exclusivity is not there. See, that is such a big thing, and this can again be stolen, or government can also have a drug control order, and then they can ensure that the same process is repeated to create their own medication in India. So data exclusivity. Thank you, Hima, for mentioning this point. Beautiful work, right? And then enforcement of these Copyright Act for patents or copyright, whatever it is very, very less. So out of the 10 raids carried out in India by policing authorities, 9 raids, nothing happens. Why? Because either there is a tip already given to people, or these are those offenses where, if you remember, compounding and non-compounding, right? Or what are the other ones? Compounding and non-compounding, and cognizable and non-cognizable, right? So these would be treated as non-cognizable offenses, non-cognizable, right? Always there will be a need for a judge to ensure that the crime is the person who has committed the crime, they are interrogated or they are taken behind the bars. Whereas in America, this is not the regime. If you've broken a patent, you will be given minimum 10 years of imprisonment. Not only that, you will have to pay $2 million fees, right? Or the penalty. In India, this is hardly few thousand dollars. It is 1 to 3 years of jail term. That is it. So patent has been protected very strongly in the developed world, whereas weakly in the developing world, right? The availability of policing infrastructure, the investigation, whether it be online investigation or conducted offline at places, this is all not happening. This has also led to loss of GDP for the country. More than $1 trillion is said to be lost globally. And India also loses humongous in taxation through this, right? Because if it was a patented regime, it would be under tax norms, governance norms. And this is how we suffer, because we have, NIB and Heike and CatCot and coma, right? So these are the kind of issues. You should note down these 4 issues. So India initiated a national intellectual property right policy in 2016, and right now with the help of USA also, what we want is that we create a better innovative, innovation skill driven approach in the country. So what is required are 3 things. See, a part of solution. We have not reached the conclusion of this article, but then I am telling you one solution for this. Skill, technology, and innovation. These three things are required. Innovation is one component of it. Even if I have an innovative mind, I might not have the technology. And even if I have the technology, I might not have that kind of mind. So I will also need skills alongside, right? So skill, technology, and innovation, this 3 architecture must be used for a country to initiate their innovation and harness that potential. We have also spoken multiple times about the fundings in intellectual property, right? Intellectual property and innovations, 0.7% of GDP compared to 3 to 4% other countries. So that data again becomes very important. See, we have also come very far from the screwdriver technology. Innovations have happened. As you people have mentioned that India is filing for many research papers, but they are not translating as much. They are translating, but not translating to the actual patent in that regard. Many people do not file patents in India only, right? And this is the reason for brain drain, as one of you mentioned here, right here, right? So this is why government initiated a reform. So a new department was created in the Ministry of Commerce, Department of Industries and Internal Trade, right? And this was earlier also given a name. Earlier it had a different name, and it was merged. This department, and especially a particular cell, CPAM, Cell for Intellectual Property Rights Management and Application, this was created. And the main idea is to ensure a better ecosystem for intellectual property in India. And you would be able to see that our performance in Global Innovation Index, which is created by WIPO, it has only improved with time. Though there are these challenges, intellectual property challenges, but it has actually improved with time. So in 2021, rank is 46, and this was 81st in 2015. 81 to 46, we have jumped. And don't you think that this is also going to help us drive the ease of doing business in India? Yes, absolutely. Ease of doing business, one of the parameters is patent regime also, right? So they are, see, that is the reason I'm giving you both the sides of the story. On one hand, India has these kind of recursive processes which are regressive. We are not even investing, and we are stealing. That should not be the word to use. We are also utilizing the other person's intellectual property to ensure social justice in our country, right? And we are not even investing in our R&D. So that is one side of the story. And the other side of the story is that this is also somehow leading to growth in India, right? Growth in India, India's pharmaceutical business, growth in indigenous industries, knowing the know-how from the developed world, right? So this is one very good component, right? So this is a quick update. What has it led to? It has led to affordable drugs in India. Not only in India, India has also become the source supplier of drugs to Europe, to USA, to many other countries in the world, developing countries. So not only that, export of generic medicines, that has happened. And we have also become the champion of developing world by showcasing these kind of talent. On the other hand, we also, eyebrows have been lifted on us because of the section 3D and evergreening, and the other one is drug control order, right? So this is the complete partial picture here. Let me tell you a little more about paracetamol. So paracetamol is the general name. Dolo or what is that? Colpal. Calpol. Colpal is Colgate Palmolive. This is a different company altogether. Calpol is the specific name of that particular company which produces the generic paracetamol. Similarly, Dolo is also produced by some Bangalore-based company, Health Microsystem, something like that. So these are the specific names, generic names of the companies. This is the general name, and also if the patent existed, then the patent name would have been something else. These are the generic medications available very cheaply in India because the patent regime has finally come off after 20 years, right? So this is a quick background to it. And so patent, copyright, trademark, designs, geographical indications, industrial rights, all must be protected. All must be protected. In fact, there was a parliamentary committee report. We had discussed that in September, and it said that the patent regime protection is very low in India. The number of geographical indication tags being received are few. So is it good? It is not good for India, but it is good for you, because फिर pre-exam में नहीं आएगा ना. These questions won't be there. So imagine IPR, intellectual property infringement, is linked to organized crime. It is linked to evasion of taxation. It is linked to many life safety measures which are violated. Many of the e-commerce or digital payments, they get violated because people receive fake products. This is all happening because of a weak intellectual property regime. Because also remember the e-commerce we discussed in details in future news. So e-commerce is not getting the consumer protection is not happening as well here, and intellectual property is also not getting protected. So the creator is not getting it, the consumer is not getting it. Who is getting it? People who are the middle persons who are doing some hanky-panky business, right? Porous borders. This is what experts say. Porous borders is another reason why we are receiving these kind of counterfeit or fake products. And people are also not aware. What is the government doing? Piecemeal approach, taking one step at a time and then forgetting the whole ecosystem of awareness. Bringing awareness. This is important. Enforcement is important. Making the crime not bailable and cognizable offense. This is important. Increase the monetary fine. This is what is required. Just like we have a special IT cell. Do we have IT cell? Every district has an IT cell, right? I'll give you an example. In Bihar, 150 out of 150 DSPs, around approximately 150 DSPs selected, only when they were trained, only 10 or 11 of them became the SDPOs. Rest, many of the people, 60-70 of them went into IT cell of the district. So this is the kind of significance government is attaching to its middle level police officers in the country. Just like we have this emphasis for IT, information technology, we should have one for IP also, intellectual property. IP cell should be created. These are some solutions that I am giving to you right now, right? So example of turmeric, we have Kandhamal turmeric, healing properties, and the developed countries say that we have discovered this. So our patent is not going to be, patent cannot be valid for these kind of natural therapies, right? Which are but obvious. You can't create a patent for creating tea or, wake up regime. I have created a patent wake up regime. No, this is not possible. These are natural processes, yoga, etc. But developed countries have tried this in India and abroad as well, right? So what is required is increase the FDI in India, right? Convert research into patent, ensure that these are converted into patent. So ab dekho, India mein the issues about patent, the way in which patent is filed in India is this. You have to search internationally first if your patent has been unique or not. It gets validated, and in that, after that, you write a patent draft. In writing patent draft, what we actually do is that we tell the key points of how our patent is unique. What is the extra mile that we have, the novelty that we have. This is a technical and legal draft. And after that, we apply for the patent and then we file it. But there is a process to it, and this is a time-taking process, right? There are very few people who can check this in the government. Few people are appointed to check. So this is a bigger process. So this is the reason that and also this is not even digital in India. This is a manual driven process. So that is why the patent examination and granting takes a lot of time. So eventual, as you people actually mentioned, brain drain, right? Also, people fear that if we, have this patent right or creation, if it is not granted my data, what is the procedure of, data exclusivity or protection in India? There is no regime. Regular data ka protection to hai nahi, we don't have it, regular data. So how do we have it for the patented information? So this is the complete conversation, and quickly switching to segments of the patent regime in our country, right? So does the Indian patent give protection worldwide? No, we will have it only in India. We will have to apply it other places. If I have created a product, for example, from potato, we create gold. Remember it was in news. If I have created a device which is which creates gold from potato, I will have this device patented in India. This is one. And you know what? Edukemy itself has got certain things patented. It is in the process. We have got a corrector app. It helps in subjective evaluation. So while people do it manually, there is a device, there is a complete software which helps people to correct the answers. We are in the process of filing the patent. So we file it in India, and then we have to file it in individual countries where we will be using it. Also, if all the countries are a part of a global chain, then they'll be automatically helping in filing of the patent in the other countries also. Okay, so this is one part of it. Beautiful feature news talking about the perspectives of patent. Right. So compulsory licensing. Will India be able to do this? Yes, India will be able to compulsory license a particular entity, drug, if the need be. Right. All right. Legal regime in India. The legal regime of criteria of patentability should be novel. It cannot be obvious. It has to be a unique process. Right. It should be capable of industrial application as well. It cannot be frivolous in nature. Kuch bhi, the mango and Newton discovered the apple falling, and then Ashish Gupta says, I saw the orange falling, so I have patented this. That is not applicable, right? We cannot patent the scientific principles or mere discovery of a new substance. No, discovery is not it. Invention, mental creation, that can be patented, right? So these are some important parts of how and what should be patented. We also understood product and process patent, right? Making tea in different way, that is process. Process patent, no more valid, all the countries to follow. Product patent, remember this. And I remember that this was asked in UPSC some year. I have a shallow memory about this. All right. So some facts also, if you know the content deeply well enough, then these facts are mere nothing but the conceptual clarity that you have. Process patent exists. Product patent exists. And this is the reason that organizations like WTO said, we will have product patent. Why? Because what if you reverse engineer the product? What if you screwdriver engineer the product and then open it and then make small iterations, small changes in the process, and you say our product is created? Then we are not regarding or respecting the product and the person who created the product, right? So India has seen a rise in patent filing and granting, but this is not as substantial as USA and China. Absolutely. All right. Okay. What else? Patent enforced. Right. So yeah, India has decent. India has also, see, that is why I tell you, know both the sides of the story. In fact, multiple sides of the story, so that you can represent all of them, right? And you can make a balanced, perspective driven answer. So India's ranking in Global Innovation Index has improved, right? From 81 to 46 right now in the last six years. On the other hand, you can also say that there are restrictions in patent laws in the country, right? So that is the reason I mentioned 9 out of 10 police cases or police raids, they are they are left halfway, right? And so much of economy which India is not able to create because there is counterfeit product. So why low patent despite India being a knowledge driven economy, right? So because they have better research potential. Simple. One of them is very simple. According to WIPO, number of patents granted in China, USA, Japan, Korea stood at 5.3 lakh, 1.3 lakh, right? And number of patents granted in India, let's look at it. Patent in force, 81,000. All right. And out of that, only 12,000 patents belong to Indians. That means foreigners as institutions came to India, they filed for a patent. So you well understand what I am saying. It is good also in one regard that they know, that foreigners know that if we are in that country and we create a patent, they might have the drug control order in place or whatever it be, Essential Commodities Act, whatever, and then they will, break it, the patent. So let's create an office here. Let's empower them a little, because this is what is called as equitable sharing of resource and benefits of the resources, right? So this is what India is following. This is the advantage to us, no? The kind of population that we have, the kind of demand-driven economy that we have, domestic demand-driven economy, we should leverage on these kind of principles and create the tendency to have the know-how as well. And we are doing it. Key reasons for relative low patents in India is the fact that we are not spending much. So participation, there's something called as GERD. So gross expenditure in research and development, this is less as compared to the population, as compared to the per capita population. Gross expenditure in research and development is less, and percentage you already know, in GDP it is very less, right? Not only that, there are procedural delays, low. What I'm speaking of right here is those delays which are because of manual driven process, because there are lesser human resources, right? So patent examiners, they're physically reading it out, right? Taking time, just like some of you read Gazette for hours and hours. They take quite a while, and there is no time limit prescribed also to ascertain if that particular product can be actually granted patent. This is the reason that corrective is also in pending. Right? So there are advantages also, there are disadvantages also of a patent regime, right? On one hand, advantage of a patent regime is that it ensures that people are regarded, right? There is a better complete ecosystem for management of patent, granting of patent, respecting the research and development. There will be further innovation through this. On the other hand, there are issues also. Competition is restricted, right? Then availability to everybody is restricted. So there are various positives and impacts. We have mentioned both of it, and that is the reason that you should know both the sides. And see, look at these beautiful points. No time limit prescribed. Number of patent examiners low. Procedural delays, complexity. As I mentioned, how to grant patents in India, the 3 steps. Procedural delays there, and most of the people who are actually filing patents in India are foreigners. But yes, rising share of Indian residents in total application has increased from 20 to 30% to 40%. Oh, great. Thank you. So this is the quick update. What can we do? You know it. And here is the news army. Thank you, Netra. It was a part of the Hindu. All right. So when we look at the patent regime in our country, what did we study today? What we studied is the difference between product and process patent. Very important conceptual clarity. We also understood what are the various kind of intellectual property. What is the meaning of intellectual property, and what are the various kinds of intellectual property? Right. So patent, trademarks, and trade secrets, and various others, all of them, right? Geographical indications, etc. We also understood what are the provisions of the Patent Act, TPA 1970, right? And we understood the drug control order, or section 3D, evergreening of patent, and what was the Supreme Court case. We also understood various issues related to this, right? What is the world doing about it? So 301 report of the US trade representative presented just last year. We had discussed this in terms, right? So we understood that component. We also understood what are the advantages of patent regime, what are the issues associated with it. We gave numerous examples of how we are lagging behind the developed countries. We also gave a lot of data about the patent regime in the country. The issue was discussed in detail of the delay in the procedures. We also understood the procedure of granting patents, how it is done. और क्या जानना है इसमें? Despite remarkable progress, the number of patents granted in India still lags behind global leaders. What ails India's invention and patenting regime? Big question asked. Why? Because it will have a lot of perspectives covered, right? On one hand, you can talk about the percentage, procedural delays. Then you can talk about the international ramifications, issues because of porous borders. You can talk about the skill availability in the country, the innovation level availability, the 3 points that I had mentioned, those are important, right? So largely the answer gets completed through a point like this. I think it was fairly discussed. One more thing. We also have covered similar article in September, Parliamentary Committee report on patenting regime in the country. Click here to read. You also can look at the YouTube for that particular video, that particular day's feature news. We had covered it right then, right? Let me look at the questions. Oh, by the way, you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments and shares. Become very valuable. Though I keep on repeating this every day, but then it's my duty and it's also somebody else's duty. All right, let's look at this. What are you mentioning? Microlabs Chennai. Yes, Dolo is from Microlabs Chennai. Chennai and Bangalore. All right. So, what are the comments? Few days back, I asked for Coca-Cola and the shopkeeper gave me Campa Cola. Amlan, Campa Cola was actually a brand. Coca-Cola is not Indian, but Campa Cola was actually a brand. So there are two big brands of soft drinks in India. None of them Indian. Coca-Cola and Pepsi. And if you see, Mirinda, Limca, Thumbs Up, all of them are fragments of this, right? Similarly, I was looking at some brands, Volkswagen, yeah. This is the mother brand. It owns many of the companies. This is, if you might think that this car, oh, is it good or not? But this is the largest seller in the world, right? Similarly, second largest is Renault Duster, Renault whatnot. So Audi owned by them, many other companies owned by them. So mother companies become very important, and one of the mother companies was Coca-Cola, but I don't know, Campa Cola, it got stopped a long time back, probably before you were born. But how could you get Campa Cola? I don't know. Amlan. All right, Vivek says, sir, is it violation? See, no, these are, you have Coma instead of Puma is not a violation. It's a different name. Trademark is different. But what is an issue is that these kind of companies might not be under the legal radar at all. Do they have the process or the product patented in India? Are they paying taxes? Have they paid the patent cost itself? Nothing. They are selling, the mere presentation of names in this regard shows that possibly they are fake products. Vivek, I would also like you to start participating in the answers, right? All the other people do, you evade it. Pooja, in my locality, chota samosa wala. Okay. Bhavani says, fir sikka uchlega zarur. Kal, okay, I don't know. Your day will come. Okay. Palika Bazaar in notorious market list. Look at this, Ravi says. US Chamber of Commerce in its International Intellectual Property Index has placed India 40th out of 53 countries. US is not happy with India's patent regime. As I mentioned to you people, US is not happy. And this is the reason that US and India, they jointly have said that we will do something about patent regime. You help us in technology transfer. You establish some factories here in India, and we will try to sort this between ourselves, right? So see, it is not only about the section 3D, evergreening and the direct control order. This is also about ensuring that the illegal movement of drugs or not drugs or of commodities is stopped, right? Illegal movement or illegal creation, because India also is losing on taxation. India is also losing on the countable GDP, right? Netra says, lost soul mentioned, sir. Yes. Kapila project of IP literacy. Great. Thank you, Kriti. India should get more GI tags, not now, but after we clear the exam. India currently takes 5-6 years to grant patents. Look at that. Here the name of chips is gold. We also had a chips here. All right. When in Rome, behave like the Romans. Yes. While in Rome, do as the Romans do. Sir, Edukemy has a patent or not? Yes. These are trademarks, man. Where is it? If you see, trademark registered. And we're also going to change the logo a little very soon. What happens if one of us open a new channel, Edusemy? Kanupriya, thank you. Frito-Lay's owns Lay's and Doritos. Okay. Audi, Lamborghini, Porsche, Bentley, Bugatti, all owned by Volkswagen. See? Great, Ravi. Thank you for this information. Few days back, I mean, all right. All right. So if you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. I read all your remarks. Looks like you guys enjoyed the, trademark violations in India, right? The fake names. So thank you for watching, being a part. Create short notes, very important. Pooja, if you're here in the conversation, I will quickly share here itself the link to that video to be able to create short notes for yourself, right? So just a bit. Other people, if you have questions, please put them down in the comment sections. And otherwise, we will see you tomorrow evening for current affairs. And after that, the discussion on the feature news. All right. So here we go. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for participating. Good night. Make good notes. And then we will see you tomorrow evening. All right. Good night. And thank you for participation. Thank you for enjoying. Good night, Tiyasha, Amlan, Vivek, Netra, Kriti, Ashish, Amlan, all of you. And I have seen, the standard of writing answers. This is dramatically become better. All of you, in fact. So great effort. Thank you and good night. Keep on memorizing this much only. Don't get into the fear of missing out. FOMO is very dangerous. There are many of us who think, see, I also note the YouTube statistics data. I also work accordingly. So I see every year, just before the examination, the number of people becoming a part of such series becomes less. They fear they are missing out on something else. On the other hand, it is possible that when they are out of sync of this preparation, they might miss out on this itself. And this would have provided something really valuable to them. So don't be in the fear of missing out. This is what is UPSC syllabus here. Paper 3. Look at GS paper 3. WIPO is mentioned directly. Intellectual property is mentioned directly. I've discussed the whole ecosystem here. So imagine what we are doing. We are creating wonders. It's just that it will be recognized later. Right? So with this, thank you for participating. Vakram, Vibani, all of you. I will see you tomorrow. Good night.